And we are live, the news segment, June 18th, 2021. My name is Ken. Thank you so much for joining us. Earlier today, we interviewed Bart Watson. You can go check out Better on Draft episode 261 to find that great interview, learn everything that you did about the man behind the stats of the Michigan Brewers Guild. With that in mind, let's go around and see what everyone is drinking to start off this episode. For myself, I have from Ironfish Distillery in Thompsonville, Michigan, bourbon whiskey. This is finished in maple syrup barrels. This is 86 proof, so just a little, not as strong as the last one by about 15%. But Wendy, what do you got over there?
You think I know you're going to start with me at this point. So in my shout out to kick-ass women in the brewing industry, I'm drinking a Final Absolution from Dragon Mead. It is my absolute favorite beer. So I just wanted to shout out to Amanda. I hope that we get you on the show soon because I would really love to chat with you.
She's been in the studio.
I wasn't there though. Still new.
That's true.
I do also want to say, if you have a woman in the brewing industry that you would like to shout out, please give me a shout and let me know so that I can get them on and we can start talking about all these fabulous women that are out there doing crazy things in this industry.
Sounds good. Robert, what do you got?
Well, I'm still sipping on the bougie sweet potato pie because that Black Excellence was definitely hitting a little bit harder than I thought it was going to. Because I can't figure out what the sucker was clocking in at, but it's got to be at least 12%. So still sipping on this, and then you will obviously see what the chug will be momentarily.
Right. Well, according to Barrel Aged Black Excellence on Untapped, it's 9.5%.
What? Weak.
That's what Untapped says. Dan, what about you?
I bet you I have a Stolian soda.
Well, Dan, never change.
Hey, it's good. I can't help it. Sorry.
That's okay. And as always, with segment 2,
here is Robert with the Beer News.
We're going to have to get you some lighter beers for those.
Was that tequila?
For those of you not watching, you can watch live betterondraft.tv, youtube.com/betterondraft, or facebook.com/betterondraft. Of course, if you're listening via podcast, you can check out the videos on all those websites, specifically youtube.com/betterondraft. Rob, what is it you chugged?
That was Eastern Market Brewing's Lemonade Shandy. So definitely, I had to switch it up because obviously with drinking the Black Excellence and the bougie sweet potato pie, I was going to be a little bit hard-headed, and I was actually breaking out the triple mash today, but that was a hard no, so I had to walk away from that one, and instead of going 17%, we had to go 5%. So that's where we're at.
Well, Rob, what's a news article to start us off for today?
All right. So since obviously our previous guest, Dr. Bart Watson, was a graduate of University of Iowa, I figured we were going to start with Iowa. So the University of Iowa Department of Athletics announced last week and Thursday a pilot program that is going to allow beer and wine sales at athletic facilities. So according to the athletic department's website, beer and wine sales will begin at Kinnick Stadium in the fall, which is their football stadium. Then it's going to go into Carver Hawkeye Arena, Dwayne Banks Field, and Bob Pearl Field, which is basketball, baseball, and softball, respectively. Those are also included in the program. Will begin alcohol sales during the 2021-2022 school year. The athletic department said 30% of alcohol sales at the University of Iowa's sporting events will fund research by the University of Iowa Alcohol Harm Reduction Committee, which, okay, makes sense. Due to the introduction of alcohol sales, the athletics department announced it will adjust parking lot hours for tailgating, excuse me, instead of opening at 6 a.m., parking lots will open no more than 6 hours prior to kickoff and no earlier than 6 a.m. Now, as more and more universities start to normalize drinking in a college setting, are you seeing this more as it mostly taking advantage of a situation that already happens in the parking lot with tailgating to kind of stop the tailgating and bring more beer sales into the stadiums? Or does it come off negatively in getting kids to drink alcohol earlier in life? I guess I don't know, it's kind of a weird question. I guess when I was thinking about this, I was like, that was what I was coming up with. But it seems a little bit of a weird question because it's college. You're already drinking early in life, and whether or not you're actually getting it legally or illegally, you're probably still doing it anyway.
So I'll kind of start off because I've actually never been to a college sports game at all. I believe there was supposed to be a game in 2020 where my team, my favorite team, the Miami Hurricanes, was supposed to come to Michigan State and play Michigan State. I don't know if the home and home got switched and now they're playing in 2022 at Michigan State. But that would probably be my first game if and when I ever go to one. But from what I would see in Detroit Lions tailgating, because I used to live in Eastern Market for 5 years, so I dealt with all the tailgaters for 5 years. It is going to curb over drinking. Because if you can't drink in the stadium, then you're going to get as drunk as you can outside the stadium prior to the game. Those who are underage are going to drink no matter what, let's be honest, and just accept that as a fact. So I think this is the colleges just need to do it. Like you can create rules and regulations that during times, and even if you do it just during football or basketball, if you want to add that as the two main sports, pre-drinking, and then, just accepting it and then having alcohol sales on the floor. Underage people aren't going to drink. People who are 21 are going to drink anyway. So either you're going to have them get cranked outside at a bar before or accept the fact that they can drink inside because, I've been to so many events in my lifetime to where, oh, sure, I can drink before, but I want to get my ass to my seat. And once I get my seat, then I want to go get my beers. I don't want to sit and get completely tanked and barely make it inside the stadium to barely enjoy a game. That's just my opinion, though. I want to go Dan next because I know Dan and I have been to a lot of events where we've pre-gamed, drank at, and post-gamed.
Yeah, I've never understood the whole beer and alcohol not at college games, especially when there's not just college kids going to them. And I think that does lead to a lot of the over drinking that goes on outside because people are getting fucking smashed. I've been to a few MSU games over the years back in the day, and that's all you see are people just getting hammered beyond belief. And then going in and I don't even know how you watch football at that point. I sure as shit couldn't keep my attention on it, but I think it's a good thing because number one, the schools will make money. And number two, it probably will stop a lot of the ridiculousness you see going on beforehand.
Wendy, I know you're a big fan of DCFC, and I know pre-gaming and walking in the parade towards the game is a big part of being a DCFC fan. But when I recall going now, it's been a while. I only went to the Cast Tech games. I haven't been to Keyworth yet. Can you drink at Keyworth? She says you can.
Brew Detroit and Stroh's have booths, and then they've also got somebody else was there selling like seltzers and wines and stuff.
I don't recall being able to drink at Cast Tech though.
I think with that being at a high school.
Yeah, that's a high school, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's off hours. We're not drinking while the kids are in class. It's a Saturday at 2 p.m. in a gated event.
It's a school no matter what.
It's still school premises. You can't do that. And real quick, for those of us...
Well, there we go. University of Iowa. That's a school premise. No more drinking there, folks.
But the age difference at those schools is very different. I'll be honest.
18 at Cast Tech High and 18 at college.
very few people are actually 18 when they graduate. They're just turning 18.
Right. And real quick, for those who are not in the area, DCFC would be the Detroit City Football Club. That's our soccer team, which are playing in their national championship on July 3rd, I believe. So, City die.
So I honestly had no idea that you couldn't drink at college games. It doesn't make any sense to me because honestly, a lot of the people I know who are going to those games and spending money are adults. They're alumni. They're people who have never been but live in the community. That I never even did realize that you couldn't.
It's been a growing thing, and I think the catalyst that started it was when it was a few years ago when the Minnesota Vikings had a home game at their old stadium and they couldn't play because it snowed so much that it collapsed the roof. So they had to go play at the University of Minnesota stadium, and fans were up in arms because they were like, it's a Vikings game. I should be able to drink beer, especially if I'm outside. And they couldn't do it because it was a college stadium and they didn't have alcohol. So they had to try and figure something out. And it was like, since that happened, has been where this whole thing is taken off, where, you know, these colleges have been pushing to have more alcoholic sales. And I mean, it's definitely shout out to them, because it's like what Ken is saying is that they're doing this in the parking lot anyway. This is already happening in the tailgates as people are being able to drink out there or drinking out there. So why not bring it inside and make more money for the school?
I've never been to a game, but I have tailgated plenty. So now I understand why they were going at it so hard before they went to the game.
I just what didn't make sense, and as much as it is a college, money talks a lot in this country, and the amount of concessions that you're losing when you don't have people purchasing booze at your events, it blew my mind when I learned about it too, because I didn't even think anything of it. Just as kind of like Wendy was saying, like I didn't think it, you know, you couldn't drink at a college game. And then when I learned that, everything kind of made sense about tailgating and why people went really hard, because people never, you know, we're not the Buffalo Bills over here. People didn't go as hard pre-gaming for a Detroit Lions. When you're pre-gaming, you're grilling, you're having fun, you're playing, you know, cornhole or whatever.
Having Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, you're it's a very relaxed setting at a Detroit Lions tailgate. Like we went, I remember with one of the former hosts, Matt Bush, and we went literally like tailgate hopping, like from place to place, and we had our own drinks, but people were offering us drinks, people were offering us food, and you know, it's a very welcoming place, especially if you're an out of town team that you're tailgating. There are a lot of times where I've come and there are a lot of out of towner teams that were tailgating, as long as you weren't being pieces of shit, New England Patriots fans, then you were perfectly fine. I mean, they got their due when we beat them at home, but then they won the Super Bowl, so, you know. All right, enough about sports. Rob, what's up?
Beer festivals are back.
Hey.
God.
So, Michigan Brewers Guild announced today that there's 3 upcoming beer festivals that are returning in 2021. Just to kind of go through the list, there's 2 of them in August. There's the Michigan August Beer Festival South, which is going to be held Saturday, August 14th at LMCU Ballpark. There is the Michigan August Beer Festival North, being held Saturday, August 28th at Turtle Creek Stadium, which that's in Traverse City. I forgot where LMCU Ballpark is. It's somewhere in western Michigan.
Comstock Park.
Is that? Oh, that's Comstock. Okay. Just put Comstock. And then there is the UP Fall Beer Festival that's being held Saturday, September 11th at Matson Lower Harbor Park in Marquette, up in the Upper Peninsula. I was going to say up in the Upper Peninsula.
Best beer festival ever.
So we are getting our festivals back as things are starting to get a little bit back into some form of normal, as we would like to call it. But when we're starting to see all these festivals that are starting to come back, I feel like there's still a little bit of cautiousness that is still going to happen with those that may want to go to the festivals and those that won't because they still feel that and granted, it's still, I think it's rightfully so that they still feel that we're not done, that we're still in the middle of this pandemic, that as it does start to kind of wane down, that there's still going to be that contingency that is not going to go out. So I guess what I'm wondering is, with these beer festivals, how many of these breweries are actually going to show up? Or are they going to show up because they think this is over? Or are there going to be like a group of those who say, I'm going to wait till 2022? It's kind of, I don't know. I feel like I'm glad it's coming back, but at the same time, it's like, do I want to go?
I want to bring Wendy in here first, because Wendy, for those of you who don't know, is a professional face painter, and you can hire her for events. She does a kick-ass job. If you need to see credentials, you can see how she can paint her own face, which is ridiculous.
Right?
Let alone paint other faces. But you are in an industry in which you rely your side hustle. You rely on festivals. You rely not just beer festivals, but festivals. What are your feelings?
So there is definitely that group of people who are going to be cautious about it, which I totally understand that. It was difficult for me to go back out and start painting again. It was just recently that I started doing it. I have done a few festivals, mostly in Frankenmuth. I'm pretty sure that they're the festival capital of Michigan. And they do a fantastic job. Face painting wise, it was completely different because there's a whole different set of standards that you need to follow. We all had to get certified in safety and making sure that we weren't doing things that could endanger the people that we were painting or us. And especially since we're dealing with kids most of the time, there's a lot of things you got to pay attention to. We had some people were very excited about the cautiousness that we used. And then there were other people. I had a lady that was upset because we wouldn't let her kids eat ice cream in the chair. Well, we're not going to let them eat ice cream while we're, that close to them, even if all that other stuff is going on. There's just certain things that as a person working the festival, you have to be cautious of to make sure that you're not endangering other people. I got the chance to volunteer at Webb recently, and I thought they did a fantastic job of making sure that things were socially distanced, that they were taking the consideration of the cautiousness that people are feeling into consideration when they plan this event. It was much larger than it was, with a lot less people there that were even allowed in. The next weekend, or maybe the weekend before that, I did another festival in Frankenmuth, which had more people than I have ever seen in that city before. It was crazy how many people were there. But there were a lot of people with masks on. We were still following all the safety protocols. People are excited to get out there and do new things, do these things again. They want to get back out into the public. And personally, I feel like we have to start getting back out there if we're going to see an end to this. We can't not interact with each other. At some point, we have to start doing that. As far as whether or not the breweries are going to want to do it, it's not necessarily whether they want to do it, but whether or not they budgeted for it. Because a lot of breweries have taken the festival's lines out of their budgets. One, because it's probably not there, and two, because they weren't sure if it was going to happen. So I think that we're going to see a lot less breweries participating this first year out, just because they simply didn't plan for it.
Yeah, I could see that. And I kind of wonder with the ones that they do have planned, And obviously, we did have our fall beer fest, which happened here in Detroit, which typically happen, late September, early October. I'm kind of curious if that's still going to go on, but it is just as you said that the budget may take that out, because it's not like the Brewers Guild is paying for the breweries to bring their beer there. That's their own beer with their own costs, right, that they are giving out to individuals for free. Now, I would think they get something from the guild for doing it, but it doesn't make up for. Oh, Ken is out of his head, shaking his head. No, okay, so they get nothing other than I hate to say notoriety, but basically getting known that they provide this beer, and that's a hard thing.
Brewers Guild festivals, for the most part, when you factor in having to send representatives, send hotel cost of driving there, staying the night, multiple nights, multiple people, sending sales reps if you're paying them. When you factor all of that in, these are what we would call in the industry loss leaders, in the sense to where it's a pure marketing campaign to get people to buy your stuff later.
And that's a lot to be able to. I mean, from what you're saying, is like the Austin brothers, the Ordok, the Black Rocks, when they have to drive all the way down here and stay and then put out their beer for free. Holy shit.
Well, it's not for free. The Brewers Association, the Brewers Guild are paying for the beers. The Brewers Guild are buying the beers at the cost, because you can't discount or anything like that. So whatever, if I have, say, a keg of Bobby English from North Center Brewing, that keg of Bobby English from North Center Brewing is the exact same price I sell it to the Brewers Guild is what I sell it to E.G. Nick's in downtown Northville. Same like you can't discount the price or anything like that. So right. That's one thing that you have to pay it. So they're still buying the beer. That's how they're like the money in the $50, we'll just say $50 in pays for the site, the beer, the security, the all the things that come with a beer event of that style. For the brewery themselves, though, they're just selling that beer and getting a table or paying for a table or two, and therefore it's just a marketing campaign for them. That's all it is that a marketing campaign, because nobody's going to the Brewers Guild festivals if you're not a huge fan of Michigan beer. Especially Wendy, I think you're muted with that response, or you're very you're very, very light.
How about now?
All right, that's a lot louder.
Okay. So I don't agree with that, because I have been to too many festivals where people have asked me whether I was working or whether I was standing in line, what beer is most like Bud Light.
Now, hold on. I would tell you that person was brought in by someone who understands the beer industry or follows the Michigan beer industry. So I still think that person does not just buy a ticket on a whim and is looking for what is closest to Bud Light.
I couldn't even imagine.
That person may be going to say a lower beer festival, like the beer festival we went to Jackson, the Southern Michigan, Jackson County, Jackson City State Beer Festival, whatever it was. Because you're going to get the bigger names. It's the same as that one Brewfest we went in Royal Oak, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was a fun as fuck beer fest.
It really was.
But you weren't getting whales. You weren't getting small breweries that weren't from, like, the Metro Detroit area. So I think the Brewers Guild is bringing in craft beer fans or people who get dragged in by craft beer fans.
Bud Light guy.
But someone who is looking for something to do on a Saturday or September 11th, 2021, and they're in Marquette, the beer fest is not on their list of things. They're going to the farmers market or something like that.
I'll tell you what, with that being on 9/11, I hope someone brings like some witty named beers, like maybe some Steel Beam Stout. Something like that. To that effect. Be great.
No.
I'm sure somebody will. I'm really bummed to find
They'll
out,
get
though, that it's on
canceled soon.
September 11th because I bought my Zane Lamprey tickets for the same day in Dearborn.
Yes, Zane Lamprey is going to be heading over to Downey Brewing over in Michigan. We're actually going to have a pair of tickets to give away for that show itself. Compliments of me figuring out how to get Zane Lamprey to Michigan because his team could not score any dates in Michigan. I at least got him a Detroit date. So definitely stay tuned or you can just head over to Zane Lamprey's because the tickets are available. I was thinking about heading over to the UP Beer Fest, and then you just reminded me that the Zane Lamprey tickets are happening. So now I guess I'm going to try to at least make it to the Grand Rapids one because I will be driving to Maine the day after the Traverse City one, and I'm not in the mood to be in Traverse City and then drive all the way to Maine on top of just Maine from Ipsy. I feel like I might even be going through, not through the UP, but at least through Sarnia at that point. Rob, do we have a short story?
Short one just to kind of go through because, every website that's not named BuzzFeed wants to rank shit all the damn time. There was this website called Inside Hoop that decided to make a list of the best baseball stadiums to go to with craft beer. And for those that know me, I generally do not give a shit about baseball since like 1994. The last strike was pretty much I was done. So I keep up with some players and know what the hell happens. But other than that, I don't give a fuck about baseball. I am a football person through and through. But they were the top 5 stadiums that they came out with this list of the best baseball stadiums to go to with craft beer. As ranked, the top 5, number 5, Kauffman Stadium, which is home of the Royals. 4 is Oracle Park, home of the San Francisco Giants, which I can attest to because even just being there 4 years ago, they got a hell of a craft beer stand up there. 3 was Guaranteed Rate Stadium, which is for the Chicago White Sox. I mean, considering I hear that their team is shit, I guess you got to have some good beer out there. Second, Petco Park for the San Diego Padres. And we've talked to places like Modern Times and that about the San Diego beer scene out there. Makes sense. And number 1 being the home of the Seattle Mariners, T-Mobile Park, which it's Seattle. They've got freaking beer that's out there. The part that I liked about the list the best was the fact that it dead last, because they should always be dead last in everything, would be Yankee Stadium. But the thing is that I would like to think that like they would have craft beer, but it's Yankee Stadium, so they're still going to charge like $38 for a pint of something because it's Yankee Stadium. But dead last. I love it. Now, for us here at home, here in Michigan, I will say that Comerica Park was in the top 10, right at number 10. So definitely, that's my tiger.
That's your tiger? The beer is your tiger at the park?
That's my tiger.
Beer at the park.
It's the beer. I'm going for the beer. I'm not going for the game.
I know Comerica has there's a craft beer bar like attached to Comerica. Because I remember at one point someone saw like they were selling KBS for like $2 an ounce. Which
that's not what I paid.
Did you pay more?
I paid way more than $2 an ounce.
The first time I had Bell's Black Note, which that was what really started to get me into barrel-aged stouts, was their Black Note that they had at Comerica Park for $6 a pint.
Jesus.
And I was coming down from like section 323 to get like 4 of those damn things.
Rob was up at the top row, coming down to get the beer, trying to make it back up.
That was some good stuff. I mean, and kind of going through the list, I was a little surprised with some of these because, you talk about St. Louis and Anheuser-Busch and all the beer that's in St. Louis. And St. Louis, Busch Stadium is 17th. I expect them to be a little higher. Coors Field in Colorado, They're 15th. I kind of expect them to be a little bit higher.
Hold on.
What?
You're saying Coors Field is not a good craft beer stadium? I want you to say that one more time.
I'm saying that.
I want you to say that full sentence. Coors Field is not a good baseball stadium for craft beer. Now,
but they've got Oscar Blues there.
But hold on. I'm gonna bring in our non-sports expert, Wendy. If
yes,
a macro brewery like Coors or Busch sponsored a baseball field and put a lot of money to put their name right on the marquee, where do you think they rank in craft beer?
Probably around 50.
50th?
And yet... And
17's pretty good.
And yet American Family Field, a.k.a. Miller Park, is in the top 10. They're 9th. The home of the Miller.
Is it actually called Miller Park, though?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
What's it called?
It's called American Family Field.
So who's the head sponsor there?
For God freaking sakes.
I'm just saying there is just an obvious level that I feel like we're not on the same page. I just want you to know that.
I'm pretty sure that they have a limit to the amount of craft beer that you can bring in at a park that's named for a macro brewery.
Same page.
Remember when LCA opened up here in Michigan and everyone was pissed off because it was like Goose Island who runs the craft beer sponsorship there. They're like, why can't it be Founders or Bell? I'm like, because Founders and Bells doesn't have fucking Goose Island money. That's gonna do it, guys. I want to run into the King of the Hill. It's been a good night. It's gorgeous outside. I want to get to a cigar and have another drink. I don't know what I'm going to do after this, but Better on Draft. Like us on all of our socials, Better on Draft, Insta, Facebook, Twitter. Better on Draft.tv, live 7 p.m. Guys, you can join the chat just like we've had today. People were talking in the chat, guys. I realize I did not pay attention to you, and I am sorry. But thank you so much for joining us, Chuck and Tito, asking questions and having fun. That's going to do it. No matter what you think of your beer, we think it's Better on Draft. Have a good night.
Peace.